Home. The literal start of all of our stories that witnessed many of our firsts, from taking our first steps to taking our final ones as teens before we embarked on our own life journey beyond our 4-bedroom walls. It's the place we typically leave behind to figure out a life of our own. But it's funny how life often circles back to the very place where all of our stories began. The same bedroom where a once 18-year-old me was so full of hope and excitement for the future ahead of her is now the same bedroom where a 25-year-old me has never felt so burnt out and unsure of what's to come. Not gonna lie, when I first moved back home after graduating from college during the literal peak of the pandemic, there were a lot of moments where I just felt like a character frozen in time. Being back in the same environment you've known pretty much your whole life can make it so easy to fall back into old habits and mindsets, and lose a lot of the independence you built by getting too comfortable with the familiar. Obviously, everyone's home life comes with their own responsibilities and their own expectations, and so in trying to keep up with that, along with work and friends and trying to find time for myself to breathe, I felt like a zombie trying to catch up with each and every day. I would just work, eat, sleep, and repeat. I would always feel so tired, and I just felt like I never had enough energy or motivation to really do what I enjoy doing, which was, filming. I remember always just pushing things off and telling myself I'll get to that when I have the time and energy. The time and energy never came. Before I knew it, the days turned into weeks and the weeks turned into months, and soon, in a blink of an eye, I'm just like, yo, where did all this time go? And what happened to all the promises I made myself? Scrolling through social media during those moments of extreme burnout and insecurity didn't help much either. I hate to admit it, but there were a lot of times where I would be scrolling through Instagram and TikTok for, hours, and it would start making me feel shitty, to say the least, about where I was at in life. It's pretty easy to get lost in everyone else's highlights and start comparing it to your own, and feel like you're not doing enough or you're just not good enough. Took me a while to realize, but in order for me to get out of this seemingly never-ending negative loop, I had to actively try to change the way that I thought and the way that I approach things. And also try not to get fed up and frustrated with myself when I feel like I'm not making the progress that I would like to make, because your girl can be pretty freaking impatient. And so the first step in trying to overcome all of this was to try to switch up my environment. The biggest challenge, I would say, has been trying to catch myself when my brain goes ham with the negative thoughts. You know, the ones that constantly tell you, you can't do this, or it's too late, why are you even trying? I tend to get wrapped up in a lot of those negative thoughts and constantly just doubt myself and assume the worst, because we do always tend to be our own biggest self-critics after all. And it does require a lot of mental energy to constantly remind yourself that, hey, whatever you're thinking or assuming of yourself is simply not true. And We are a lot more capable than we give ourselves credit for. You know, when I really think about it, I don't think 18-year-old me would have ever guessed that this was where I would have ended up in life. Like, yeah, even though I'm back in the same hometown that I really didn't think I would still be in by now, 18-year-old me would have never guessed that I would have actually created my own YouTube channel that I've only dreamt of doing since I was like 10. 18-year-old me, who often felt pretty alone and felt like she didn't belong anywhere, would have never imagined that she would be surrounded by such an amazing support group that she really only thought existed in movies. 18-year-old me, who really thought that she would never be able to afford to travel, would have never imagined that she would have actually gotten to go to her very first VidCon and got to meet her favorite YouTuber of all time.
Yay! Subscribe.
This is the highlight of my day.
That just happened.
We really want to meet them.
Yes!
Really
I only
want
came
to
to
meet
meet
them.
them. Yes! Life really does have a funny way of working itself out, even when it doesn't feel like it. Yeah, I'm currently not where I pictured myself to be if you were to ask me 7 years ago, but I honestly think I'm in a much better place than I would have ever imagined. So, if you're someone who's currently stuck, or you feel like you're not where you'd hope to be at in life by now, please know that even if it doesn't feel like it, you've come a lot further than you think. One thing I've definitely learned is that progress isn't linear. There are a lot of times where you're going to fall back, and that's 100% okay. Oftentimes, what feels like regression is actually redirection. Really cheesy, but yeah, you know what I mean. Each step that you take, no matter how small it may be, you're the one holding the pen and rewriting your own story.